Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
But I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And Sweetie with an IE. We're back. I don't know. Were we gone? I guess we didn't podcast last week. What?
Yeah, we missed. It's been it's been busy. We're busy. We're just like busy.
You're busy.
No, you are busy too. You have a much bigger social life. Your job is like a little more intense than it used to be. And then, I just have wedding shit and travel shit and Jimmy shit. So I got a lot of shit too. So, it's been a struggle, but guys, we're here for you. We're here for you this week. We made it happen on this fabulous hump day, February 19th. Hey, only 4 months till my birthday?
What? Oh, that's crazy.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Dang,
I'm not great at counting math and stuff. Months.
March, April. Okay, 3 months till my birthday.
What?
That's fucked up.
That can't be right.
March, April, May.
Almost. Once we hit March. You're skipping ahead.
No. March, April, May.
No,
3 months.
It's not March yet.
No. A month. Today is the 19th, honey. 3 months from today, I will be turning 37.
Everyone witnessed that patronizing honey she does when she knows she's right about something. It's too funny. Anyways. Okay, guys. So here's what. We didn't know what movie to do today. And Sweetie was like, just pick one. And I was like, okay. So I came home and I looked on all the streaming services. And
smart.
Smart. I thought it was a pretty smart plan, if I do say so.
Economical,
myself.
if you will.
So shout out to Jimmy, saving a buck. So let's see. Okay, yeah. So I went through all the streaming services and I picked the ones that jumped out to me.
What were some of the non-keepers today?
Well, we had
tell the folks at home.
We had Picture Perfect.
Good one.
Yeah,
Didn't make the cut.
I plan to come back to that
we will.
soon. We also had I wrote it on a different piece of this thing.
Pan.
Well, that was last. Yeah, Peter Pan. Good Burger. I wouldn't have picked that normally, but on Netflix, when you're flipping through and you like land on one and it starts playing a trailer and you're like, I don't want to watch this trailer. Sometimes I like to see if they have a trailer, because usually with the older ones, there isn't one. Or not a trailer, but sometimes it's like a scene from it. So I'm hovering over Good Burger and then they play this scene. And I don't know, it just brought back a lot of positivity and happiness just watching that little scene. So I was like, maybe that would be fun to watch. I don't know. And then the last one was there was Free Willy was in there. In the cupboard. Oh, and then the last one, Indian in the Cupboard,
which was the winner today, everybody. Wow,
we didn't really we threw out some reasons, some pros and cons.
Yeah, I feel like
mostly pros for most.
We had a good, which we usually never do. Either one person is like, we're doing this, or Sweetie picks a movie and I'm like, nah. So that's what we usually do. But we had a pretty good discussion about which movie would just be better to do today. And like Sweetie said, we're going to probably do all those eventually. But our reasoning for Indian in the Cupboard was wow, haven't seen that movie in a long time. Yeah. Maybe have only seen it once.
I feel like this was one that was definitely on HBO or something all the time.
Okay.
So I feel like I saw scenes of it all the time. I do not remember anything about the beginning, but that those middle scenes, I remember very vividly.
Same.
So we must have flipped through. But I'm like, oh yeah, and then left.
Totally. But then my feeling was this brought me back to cozy reading time.
Cozy reading time.
When I was the book Indian in the Cupboard by Lynne Reid Banks was actually from the 80s. But I remember it being like once you could read chapter books was a book that was like pretty popular and like
Was
people
the
were
cover
reading.
blue?
No, it was brown. It looked like the cupboard basically.
What?
It was like wood, fake wood, and then it was like the cupboard kind of.
Okay.
But I remember reading this book and being so captivated and just that like era of getting into books for the first time when you transitioned from like picture books to chapter books and like it suddenly like the stories like opened up for you and you know these books didn't have pictures in them anymore, so it was entirely your imagination and just like as a kid being like wow, like I have a whole world in my mind now of my own picture books inside here. And this was one of the books that I just remember like from that time discovering this like love of reading and these great stories and oh man,
I had a
that's
couple of those.
lifelong.
Yeah,
obviously,
I'll tell you.
we're both huge readers, and that was like only the beginning of what was going to be our literary
But
journey.
even like today, I don't have that same like superpower to just create images in my
What?
head of what I'm reading.
Really?
I mean, I think from there, but not as vividly as when we were little.
Oh,
They
I
say
don't
that when
know.
you're little is when your mind is like the white like can like stretch really far. You think really like your imagination is so real and deep. I don't know, and then it goes away when you start getting older.
I mean, I haven't noticed that.
I used
that
to be
shift,
able to
but
just sit on a bus and I'd be lost in a daydream for like an hour.
Wow.
I miss those days. Now I can't do it so much no mo.
I don't know. I feel like I still have those. I mean, I still like dream in like movies. It's crazy.
Well, I do too, but that's a dream, not whatever. Okay, so Indian in the Cupboard. Did you say the year yet?
So from 1995. So I would have guessed a little earlier. I don't know why.
I was surprised.
I didn't think it was mid 90s. So I would have been 12. Right. Yeah. Sweetie would have been 9.
But if they were playing it on TV, probably maybe a couple
So
years
like
after
maybe
that
a
or
little
whatever.
later. Yeah. So yeah, directed by Frank Oz, who, if you don't know who Frank
He
Oz is,
directed it?
yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
do you think I brought him up?
I don't know. Produced? I don't know.
Frank Oz film. Directed it. Frank Oz, so obviously, if you do not know, huge, intertwined with the Muppets. He not only directed a couple Muppets films, but also is the voice of Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Yoda from Star Wars.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Yoda from that other show.
I'm clarifying it for people who do not know. If you live under a rock, and if you don't know, he also has been like a director, and you'll see him occasionally. Like he was just in Knives Out.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So you see him occasionally as like an actor. He's an old bald man. I mean, he's not like super memorable, but really it's his voice. Because when you hear his voice, you're like Fozzie Bear.
Honestly, I
Yoda.
thought he had died several
I
years
know.
ago.
I think he's pretty old. So anyway, so Frank Oz. So he is more known for adult comedies. So he did, not in this one. So his first movie was actually Dark Crystal. I didn't know that. But Muppets adjacent. He's really involved with Jim Henson, and that was a Jim Henson one. Muppets Take Manhattan, as I said.
It's supposed to be good.
What about Bob?
Oh my God.
I've never seen that, but I've heard the best things.
Well, from me.
yeah, and Abby and Chris.
Oh, really?
They love that movie.
Well, they love
Bill
Bill Murray. Yeah. But that's on HBO now too.
Okay,
I was
I'm watching
streaming
that
by
soon.
and I went, oh my god, what about Bob? Yeah.
He also did House Sitter. Do you remember that one with
Yeah.
Goldie Hawn? Like, not that funny. I
never
actually
saw
saw
it,
that
but-
at the movie theater.
What?
I was too young, and I
Who
didn't
you
find it
always
funny
put
at
in the
all.
movies with?
I don't know. Who knows? Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Never seen that,
me
but I've always
neither.
wanted to. And then In and Out. Remember that movie with Kevin Kline?
Yeah,
He comes out. He's a
obviously.
teacher. Love that
Is he
film.
really gay or is he straight?
Yeah, he's
What's
really
the
gay.
outcome?
Yeah, he's gay.
Gay. Okay.
But so he's done like more comedies. So he hasn't really done any children's films up to this point. I don't know if you could count Muppets because that's
a
Muppets
children's
is
film.
kind of like
No, that's
children, but like
the Dark
for
Crystal
everybody.
is children. No, that's children.
Well, that was kind of dark too. I don't know. I feel like this was
Dark,
his most
children's
kid
stuff
one.
can be dark.
No, but I feel like those ones were a little bit more like combination, like adults could like and kids. This one seemed the most pure child like kind of like movie, and he didn't really want to direct it because he hadn't done it before, right? Sweetie, was it successful?
Oh my god, I had a really great time.
Me too. Good movie, guys. Really good.
We
We had the best
laughed.
time. Yeah.
We screamed. We'll get to it. We
got emotional.
We got emotional.
We learned a lot.
We talked about interesting topics throughout while it was happening, and then like researched Native Americans. It was like a great time.
It was a really great movie experience, and honestly, I think you could show this to kids today, and they'd still really like it.
Yeah,
I think like the way that they treat, the interactions, obviously with the Native Americans, what the little boy is learning, how he's like growing up in the film because he's like taking care of this like other person. Was just awesome. And at first I'm like, like the effects stink because like the cupboard opens and like he sticks his hand in to like kind of hold the little Indian, and you're like, whoa, this is bad. But then you like don't notice it, and then it's actually like pretty good. I mean, they didn't have to do anything crazy because when they were shooting the miniatures, it was just like them on like big sets, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style. So actually, I think like was pretty good.
I thought,
So adorable film, guys. Like you should go watch this immediately. As Sweetie said, it's on what streaming platform? HBO. Get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's hot. Just go
as we said, Frank Oz directed film. Who is in this movie?
Oh my god.
Okay, randos, and people who I don't think any having an acting career any longer, right?
Yeah.
All right, so who are the main peeps?
Well, the most famous, I mean, there's only really two names that I know who are in this. I don't think anyone else is anyone we would know, or their names, which I feel bad about. But so we've got Richard Jenkins is the father. Okay, I have a question about him. He looks old all the time. What's happening? What's happening there?
I don't know. I think he just sometimes when you're that kind of bald man where it's like the top is gone but you still got the sides, I feel like you kind of look old forever.
How old is he now? Maybe he was probably only like 40.
Old are you
He's probably
now?
40 in this movie, and now he's like 60.
Right.
Ugh, it's depressing. Okay.
Would you rather like look old but the same level of old forever, or the opposite, which I guess would be look young and then old?
No, I think you mean, or would you rather get older and older and you would change?
Right.
I don't know what's happening.
It's not a good question.
I think the first one.
Would you rather look old early, I guess, but then stay that old looking like forever, or be like kind of just young, but then look like really old at the end?
I mean, listen, I don't have any problems with getting old. I think it is just a natural thing of life. We got to deal with it, sweetie. We can't be Richard Jenkins as much as we would love to. We can't.
He's in a time
capsule. All right, so Richard Jenkins, and then the second most famous person in this movie, guys. I am literally shook that we discovered this or found this out, but Vincent, what's
Kartheiser?
You know what? It's too complicated. Fucking Pete from Mad Men. What is happening? He is the brother, one of the brothers in this. Yeah. Sweetie thought he was a girl in the beginning. He thought he was a sister.
He was a girl. They have this like birthday scene in the beginning where the little boy gets the cupboard. And I'm like, oh, what a sweet family. He's got like his friend there and his older brother and like his sister, and they all have the same haircut. And then like I'm looking at the IMDb credits and I'm like, Vincent Kartheiser is the brother. Wait a minute. He doesn't have a brother. No. So that was like kind of funny. And he's like, I don't know, probably 14 or something in this.
It's too funny.
Yeah. But like basically looks the same if you remember Pete from Mad Men. Classic.
But that's it. That's it for the names.
Let's not forget the star of this movie,
Steve Coogan.
Thank you. Also, Steve Coogan. You forgot about him. Steve Coogan, who looked very young. Talk about young.
Yeah.
I don't think, this was
baby's
1995. Bottom. So, yeah. Do the math. Almost 30 years ago.
I love him.
But, wow, he looked really young. He was adorable.
Sweet.
Yep. But really, I wanted to do a shout out to Gary Lightfoot Davis, who plays Little Bear.
Little Bear.
Who is also in like some other films. So he's like a Native American actor. He's actually Cherokee. In this movie, Little Bear is Iroquois, so different tribe. But his main kind of claim to fame was that he was the first Native American rapper. Sweet. And founded his own recording label. Like Red, something to do with Red,
Lightfoot?
like Red Rapper, Red, something with to do with Red. Anyway,
Red
very
Man.
cool. So
Just kidding.
he seems like a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Also hot.
pretty hot. I'd say
Yeah.
I had a newfound appreciation for Little Bear. I mean, not so little bear. Am I right? Am I right,
I mean,
guys?
sometimes I'm like, is it because of the styling of like Native Americans
yeah.
that I think they're so
Maybe.
hot? Because
I mean, they just know that they have beautiful
they have
bone structure,
beautiful bone structure,
and
beautiful
they're just,
skin,
like, perfect.
beautiful hair. Like they're just they're. I mean, Native Americans are beautiful, beautiful people. So not a lot of people well known. So the little boy who plays Omri.
It's gonna be so
Keep calling
hard.
him
It's
Aubrey.
like I'm dreading. I'm like literally nauseous trying to think of how to say the name every time. I
Omri.
think we need to change it.
Change it.
Amis.
He was in like a couple. He was like the what was it? Finding Bobby Fischer was a movie.
Oh,
no,
yeah. Wait. What? Yeah.
the Bobby
With
Fischer, the chess movie.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Not is it Finding Bobby Fischer?
Searching for
Searching
Bobby,
for Bobby Fischer. He was in that. He was in some other. So he's in like 3 kind of big movies in the 90s, and then like didn't do anything else. So he's not really doing anything. His little friend Patrick, I don't think he's doing anything any longer.
The
and
mom,
then
though. The mom is somebody.
The mom's somebody, yeah. So and like some of the little bit parts, like his teacher, that male teacher, is somebody.
They're all somebody.
Yeah, they're all like somebody's now. But yeah, so really sweet. As I said, from the Indian in the Cupboard book series, written by Lynne Reid Banks, was from the 1980s and actually had a series of 5 books.
Whoa.
I'm pretty sure I read the first 2, which is like this whole story, and then there's a sequel where he brings Little Bear back to like check in on him, and then the other ones don't have Little Bear in it, I don't think. But I remember reading, I think, at least the first 2. She's a British author, so they went from like 1980. I think the last one was 1995 or something, maybe when the movie came out.
Whoa.
Yeah, so pretty cool. And I think they had the intention of making this a movie series, so like a franchise. They were going to keep doing it, but sadly, did not do very well in the box office.
Well,
I mean, it's a quiet
It's
film.
a quiet film.
It's a quiet film.
I think of, I don't know, like Night at the Museum is like a similar concept, kind of. And yeah, there's more action in that. I was really shocked at like how, I mean, they did well with this, but the 2 big conflicts in this movie are like not very
Not
serious. But they do a really great job of like keeping the tension
Yeah.
there somehow. Anyway, so
Right,
man.
I agree. And it's really more, I mean, it's like kind of a deep film because
Oh my
it
God.
tackles like, and we'll go over this, but like not only like the, I would say like poor like education around Native Americans just in general that like kids are taught in school, and then the misconceptions of pop culture and all that stuff, and then kind of delves into like this little boy kind of trying to grow up. He's kind of a scared little kid
Dealing
by
with
the end,
death,
dealing with death,
dealing
all
with
that stuff.
shame,
And then at the
talent.
end, there's like kind of some dark thoughts about like, okay, like, well, what happened? What happened to Little Bear? What happened to his tribe? And the reality is like Little Bear doesn't know. And then it's just very heavy, and like I don't
spoiler.
think kids could even like contemplate that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's definitely a deep. It's like a kind the movie you would watch. Like I don't know. I went to school with people who I'm like their parents definitely had them watch this movie. Like those kids. Just the deeper, the deeper artistic people.
Well, and just shows you should like also revisit films because obviously you wouldn't get half the like stuff that they're trying to tell you in this movie. And then we're watching this now and we're like, whoa, man, deep. So it's like that stuff is there, but like you just don't. If you're a kid, you just glaze right over that, and you're just like, whoa, bow and arrows, a rat,
Yeah.
like cool, cowboys, wow. So yeah, cool. I'm excited to talk about it.
Me too.
It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah, sweeties. They're people. You can't use people.
Omri. It's hard. Omri, no last name, is a young boy living in NYC with his family. 2 brothers. Unclear if they're twins or like just close brothers. I'm always suspicious of the 2 brothers that like have to be in the same room.
Thank you. I'm like, they shared a room? Well,
Yeah.
also, this is like a townhouse in Brooklyn, so I don't think they had a ton of space, but why did Omri get his own room?
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what is happening?
Maybe he was mistake baby.
I mean, he was definitely younger, much younger than they were.
I'm guessing
so
he's like in 3rd grade,
okay.
4th grade maybe.
Probably a good guess. Yeah. Anyway, so he's into like little boy stuff and girl stuff, really. Little figurines. He's got his dinosaurs. He's got his Darth Vader. He says all kinds of things. Now it's his birthday, and his friend Patrick gives him, sweetie, Was he Patrick give him?
Patrick gives him a little figurine of an Indian. They don't use the term Native American. They use Indian in this film. And he's like, cool, great. He also gets a skateboard. Pretty cool. Yep. He also gets this cupboard.
Yeah, his brother's like, hey, bro, got you this cupboard.
What? Like kind of a thoughtful, cool gift from this like totally asshole brother.
We all know what happened. He was walking home from school, probably high, and was like, oh, fuck, I forgot his birthday. And just like found it on the side of the road and was like, sweet.
But he like cleaned it up.
Who washes a like wash?
You think he lied to his
strangers' clothes? I just can't envision anybody washing a cupboard.
I think he rubbed that down with Murphy's oil soap.
Well, it looks pretty shitty. Oh man. So gives him a cupboard. And his mom or Omri's like, does it have a key? Where's the key? And the mom's like, I have lots of keys. I'll help you find one. As if keys are just like, there's 10 different kinds of keys
I
in
guess
the world.
people
And you
collect
just like
keys.
hope. But how does that key fit into that? Aren't they like
It
pretty
was
Isn't
magic.
the chances of that happening? Like,
Well, I think because like I don't know. I haven't read all the books, like I said, but down the line, like he does some research on his family, and I think there's like something like the cupboard wasn't magic. I think it was the key.
Yeah. You're right. So he's into the cupboard, but he just thinks of it as a cupboard right now. He's like, Mom, what should I put in my cupboard? I'm like, dude, put whatever you want in your cupboard. Like, that's how a cupboard works. Put whatever you want in there. So he decides to put the little Indian in there, shuts the door, locks it, takes a snooze to sleep. Sleepy time USA. So middle of the night, he hears some like weird noises. Sounds like maybe his brother's rat got somehow locked in that cupboard. Yeah. And he's a little scared, but goes to sleep anyways. Morning comes, he hears the noise again? Yeah. Opens the cupboard. What does he find? An Indian.
An Indian is
Actual
alive.
Indian. Oh my God. He's scared, cowering in the corner. He's like, what the? And then the Indian's like, are you a demon? Like, get the fuck away from me. Like, stabs him a little bit with his little knife. Obviously, I mean, how would you feel? I can't even explain the situation. You're having a normal life
You're
minute.
just walking along one day with your nephew, walking through the woods of upstate New York, and then boom, you're in a dark cupboard. Like, what the fuck?
Who decides that? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, so obviously there's
And then,
some
like,
tension.
where did he go?
Yeah, where did he go?
Like, on the other side.
Was his nephew just
Did
like,
he just collapse?
Oh no! And what was the time? What was the time span there?
I know. It's like you don't
How
know,
does
like
time-
how does time work in the cupboard?
Oh my God, it's just wow, mind blowing. But anyways, to simplify things, he puts him back in the cupboard because he's a little scared, I think, of his hostility. Closes it and opens it the next day or whatever, and hoping
Wait,
to
locks
find
it
him.
up.
He
Locks it again?
Yeah, locks
Yeah.
it again, and then hopes to come back and visit with him later when he's cooled off a little. Opens the cupboard. He's plastic again. So now we know how the cupboard works, you guys. The way the cupboard works is you put something in it, close the door, lock it, take him out. Put him back to plastic, put him in, close the door, lock it. But then how...
Wait,
Oh,
he
but then-
does turn him back that first time?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why he's so depressed. And his mom's like, why are you so depressed? It makes him go to like
Because
kid
because
therapy or
then
something.
but then why because he didn't figure out the key
He
situation.
didn't figure out that it would like happen again. Like once he
he thought it
unlocked
was a
it.
one-time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was sad. So what happens? So then he goes, oh yeah, he hears the noises again. So this is what I don't get though, because okay, that's where my mind was going. So in that part, like he's sad that the Indian is plastic. He leaves him in the cupboard, I think.
And then he tries it like one more time or something?
Oh, he puts him back he leaves him in the cupboard and locks it, and then just assumes like he's still plastic.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't check to see if he's real right after that again. So then the Indian had come back alive, was making noise again in the cupboard. So Omri hears that and is excited and runs back up, and then he can resume his pet relationship with his plastic Indian friend. So Omri's sweet, but he's kind of weird. I couldn't tell if he was on the spectrum or if that kid was just like a weird actor, but the whole time, I mean, he says sweet things.
Yeah.
But he says strange things. Like,
I think he's just like a little sweetie and like a little bit sheltered. He's a baby of the family. Obviously has this like okay relationship with his siblings, but seemed to have that like baby of the family thing. But he's definitely like seems like a little scared of life. I don't know. Let's say.
Totally.
So
Totally.
this is like, and obviously he's so excited to have like Sweetie said, like a little pet. So, you know, the Indian comes to life, as we said, and he learns that, you know, it's a member of the Iroquois tribe. So he is from Brooklyn, New York, as we said. So it's actually like someone who would have been in that area, if you know about the Iroquois. They were a member of the 5 nations, but I guess eventually 6 nations because another nation
You just
joined.
know this because you Googled it right before.
I knew a little bit about this. I have to be honest. So they are a tribe that was in New York, Pennsylvania, parts of like southern Canada, like north of New York there, and it comprised of 5 nations, as I said. So that includes the Mohawk, the Onondaga,
Onondaga?
Oneida, Cayuga, and Seneca tribes.
Yeah.
So they all spoke Iroquois. And they were this Iroquois confederacy, they were called at one point. And a pretty big tribe, and actually one of the more like successful ones in the U.S. and Canada that have actually kind of had some longevity. They are interacted obviously with, you know, colonists and everything in New York, and then in Canada as well, and with the French Canadian, because it would have been that area. So they, you know, so it's this little bear, and he is from the year 1760. Oh. So he speaks English because he's had interaction with some of the traders or settlers around there, and he speaks, I would say, pretty good English.
Traders or traders?
Traders.
Okay,
So like the fur traders and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I think that was a big thing with like Canadian tribes because they would get like the French Canadians would be up there. Fur trading, if you will.
History was Sweetie. Yeah.
So, yes. Thank you. I did mostly just Wikipedia that.
Okay,
but
there is no way.
But but when I was reading it, I was like, oh yeah, because I went to school in near Albany, and everything is like Mohawk around there, from the Mohawk tribe. And so that was just kind of the American tribe, Indian tribes that we had in that area were from New England. So we have the Wampanoags here. That was like kind of the big one we were from in U.S. And this is what Omri is learning. So when you first are introduced to Little Bear as a 8 or 9-year-old child, what does Omri do? And what is he saying to him in his relationship to what he knows about Native Americans?
Like stereotypical
Stereotypes.
things.
Like what?
Well, I remember him saying.
Well, first he goes, "You're going to need a house. I have a teepee."
That's not saying, that's doing something.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, but okay, yeah. So he gets in this little plastic shitty teepee, and he's like, "Here you go. It's a house. Don't you sleep." And the Indian's like, "What is plastoc?" It's really weird. And then Omri's like, "Oh, I have an idea." So he takes the teepee and puts it in the cupboard and knocks it up, comes out, and now it's like real material and whatever. However, Little Bear is still like, what is a teepee? Yeah, like he doesn't sleep in a teepee. Obviously, that's just one like kind of tribe used a teepee, right, or whatever, or the plains.
So it's
Indians.
like, I mean, and this is what you're not necessarily taught as like a kid, that all of the Native American tribes in this country were as vast as, like, let's say, countries in Europe. Each had their own traditions and customs and way they wore their hair, what weapons they used, what they ate, whether they slept, songs, language, whatever. And like we're taught, you know, as white people that, okay, blanket, like Indian is just like one thing and here's what they do. And it's like, yes, it was true. Some tribes did use teepees, but it was the ones in the Midwest. And when you're talking about Indians or Native Americans, you know, that you're thought of what Hollywood teaches you, which is the tribes like out in the West that did have teepees, that had like the feather headdresses. So like Omri is a little kid, just isn't taught this stuff and just immediately like jumps to what he's like been taught in movies and like all that stuff, which is what a lot of people do. And what happens during this entire movie, basically, when people from all different walks of life encounter Little Bear, right?
Yeah.
Which is just so sad.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Beautiful
Yeah.
and sad.
Yeah.
But it's a teaching moment. So he starts interacting with Little Bear and is like, I'm gonna get you some stuff.
I need some stuff. What kind of stuff does he need? He needs like fucking tools, man. Well, I think the turning point in the relationship is he suddenly thinks that Omri is like a god.
Yeah.
So then he starts to trust him a little more. He takes him outside, right, kind of earlier on. Fucking pigeon like tries to eat Little Bear. There's a crisis. Brings him back inside quickly. Luckily, his brother, this was his brother's story, had a little World War I soldier figurine and steals that, puts it in the cupboard, and closes it. Sorry, a medic World War I. And opens it, and who should be in the cupboard but that little medic guy, Steve Coogan. My God. Probably my favorite character.
AKA Tommy.
Tommy is just like super sweet, just convinced this is a dream, and it's just like, wow, he's just a brilliant engine. Like, just like, he just can't believe it. But he's not like scared. I don't know. He has a job to do. He sees an injured man. He's going to help him. So Little Bear lets him wrap his leg up. They're like, okay, Tommy, like, bye, thanks. He's like, I guess I'll wake up now. Maybe I'll dream you another time. Real sweet. So I just fucking love him. So it closes him. He's back to plastic. Little Bear is fine. So at this point, Omri's like, okay, I'm going to get you some things. So he gets him like this little, what was that? Like a dirt tray?
Yeah, where you would like plant
Little
seedlings
mulch tray.
or something. Yeah.
And then a bunch of sticks, some paper, stuff that he can make a longhouse with. Because another sweet thing is that Omri like did a bunch of research on the Uruguay and now knows stuff like, oh, that's what a longhouse is. So we got him some stuff. So now Little Bear has like a little area in the room where he can build his longhouse. Omri puts like little fire truck ladder up to the trunk so that he can just go back up there if he wants to. Listen, I have a question that I just thought of right now. How and where does Little Bear go to the bathroom?
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. And then when the horse
like,
comes, I'm like, are there
what?
tiny little horse shits everywhere? Horses poop all the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
that's never
Okay.
addressed. I don't know where they went to the bathroom. He probably just digs holes in his little thing and just like goes.
Oh yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
But at this point, he's just trying to like provide very sweetly for Little Bear and make him as comfortable as possible, right? So he has to get him food. So he goes down to breakfast and asks his mom for granola, which like he's never requested before, and his mom's like, who is this child? He wants granola. I mean, like in the 90s it must have been like the healthy crunchy superfood. Now I feel like granola's like, I mean, maybe kids wouldn't like love it, but still it would be as a hard sell as it was in like the 90s.
Wow.
Anyway, Little Bear wants granola. I mean, I'm sure he just wanted like oats
Deep
and
dive
like
on granola.
yeah fruit and stuff like that. So he brings him food. He also needs like as we said, so more stuff to build his longhouse. So he goes and gets, he's really using the cupboard now. So he's like, anything he needs, he just identifies it in a figurine he already has, puts it into the cupboard, opens it, makes him come alive, and then like yanks it away. So a couple things. So he does he needs like a hatchet or axe. So he makes come to life a knight in a suit of armor with like a big axe, and steals that, and the knight's like, what? And he just like takes the thing away from him and then closes it and immediately makes him back to plastic. And then
so sad because then that knight probably went back to whatever he was doing,
Yes.
probably fighting
I know.
someone, didn't have an
I know.
axe, and then died.
dead. Yep. He decides to get a bow and arrow for him, so he's able to find a figurine, which Little Bear's like, oh, he's a Mohawk too, and it ends up being an older Native American, quite an elderly man. And he goes and puts him in the cupboard, takes his bow and arrow, and then he drops dead.
Oh my God.
Probably the saddest point in the film.
It got real fast, guys.
Real fast. So
now
and
Omri's just learning about death now.
right, and this is the turning point, I feel like, for Omri, that he realizes that these are real people and that it's not really fun and games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all fun and games until the old Indian has a heart attack and dies.
And he just is like, let's put him back, let's make him plastic. And Little Bear's like, no, like, you're a coward. And he kind of like yells at him. I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of a rough scene.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this isn't
Sad.
like that fun anymore.
Yeah. So,
But it doesn't
yeah.
end there
No, it doesn't.
because some other things.
Some other things
Change.
happen. What, like his friend Patrick finds out, right? How does he find out? Because he goes up to
He
the
tells
room.
him.
Oh, he tells him.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you tell your best friend, whatever. Unfortunately, Omri's best friend is the psychopath named Patrick. real crazy kid. Oh my God, I hate him so much.
Yeah, he sucks.
He just makes all the bad decisions, and they never give him like a redemption arc. I just feel like he's always an asshole. But he comes over and he's super amazed and he's so excited, and he wants to put he wants to put more things in there. What can we do? What can we do? How about to get a cowboy and we'll put it in there? And he's like, no. So Patrick is getting too invested now. So, but Patrick, he convinces Omri to put the cowboy in, or he does it on the fly.
So he brings a cowboy on a horse, and bad combo, right? Cowboys and Indians, like he thinks it's gonna be a lot of fun, but like in the grand scheme of things, you're like, this is a bad idea. So he brings it over, and Omri's like, no, like I don't want to put stuff in the cupboard. Little Bear actually gets very possessive. Not possessive, but he's like, you shouldn't bring basically any more people back, because this is what happened to the older Mohawk gentleman who collapsed of fright. They don't want that to happen anymore. So Omri like realizes this, and he's like, okay, no more people. But Patrick is like, I want to bring something back to life. So Omri gets called down to his mom, needs him for something, I forget, and he stupidly leaves Patrick alone in his room, and he's like, don't put anything in that cupboard, man. Like. And then he goes like, I'm serious. Like, this means a lot to me. And then runs downstairs. What does Patrick do? Put something in the fucking cupboard. He's like literally the worst.
He doesn't even think. He doesn't even pause. He's just like, okay. The worst.
So he puts the cowboy riding a horse, who also has a shotgun, into the fucking cupboard. Comes out, blazing. Guns literally blazing. The guy is like flipping out, and his horse. So he like falls off the cupboard, and where the cupboard is, almost to his death. So these are real people. So if you're a tiny little person, you fall off a table, like you're dead. So luckily Omri like jumps and saves him, and they're able to like put him up on the bed, but he's as confused as Little Bear is, and is like he's drunk, I think. So at first he's like thinks he's in some like drunken stupor, and then he kind of comes to, and he starts like freaking out when he sees these giant boys, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So his name is
Howie?
No.
Clyde?
Bowie.
No. Boone.
Boo-hoo Boone. Boo-hoo Boone. So he's a real crier. So his friends always called him Boo-hoo Boone.
Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. Yep. So he shoots stupid Patrick with his little gun, which thank God that kid, something knocked in him.
I wonder what that felt like.
It's probably like tinier than a BB gun pellet, right?
Like a little, maybe just like a little prick like that.
Yeah. But he's like, he shot me. I'm like, yeah, he fucking shot. He doesn't know you're his mama. Like, what? So then Little Bear Boone hears the word Indian. It's like, Indian? And then is like creeping over looking for this Indian, and then Little Bear sees him, and he's like, oh my God. So then they engage in a little spat, arrows, some bullets. And finally, I think, and Omri's like, okay, I'll let you, I forget. Wait, how do they diffuse the situation? It's like I don't remember the movie, but I remember everything else. So
that's not what happens at all. So he knows he has to separate them. Patrick leaves to go home, and he says, bring the cowboy.
Convince him to go home?
His mom's like, Patrick, gotta go. So he convinces Omri to take them to school tomorrow. I want you to bring the cowboy to school. So he's like, okay, but he knows he has to separate them. So he puts Boone, the cowboy, in a cupboard, a drawer. Sorry, not the cupboard, a drawer, like where his pajamas are. And then Little Bear is still like sleeping in his longhouse or whatever. So he wakes up in the morning, and there is a battle going on. Yes. Right. You have Little Bear with his arrows. Boone got out of the drawer by tying like a shoelace around the baseball that was in the drawer, and like scurries down, and then then they're getting to this fight. So he's like, you guys have to stop fighting, blah blah blah. And then he's like, Little Bear, don't worry, I'm taking the Boone the Indian to school. Little Bear flips out because he's like, I don't want to go to school. Like, he wants to leave the room. He doesn't want to be here anymore. And so he gets jealous. So Omri decides, okay, I'm going to take both of them to school in a fanny pack.
Oof. Yeah. So he has to walk like super slow. He's got them both in there. I was shocked. Really shocked. There's two separate little pouches. Maybe he could have put one in each.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just a thought. So Patrick's all excited because he knows he brought him to school. He lets Patrick wear the fanny pack during class, and while they're having a class, a funny thing happens. Boone and Little Bear become friends, just like that, talking about like loss or something.
Yeah,
something depressing. Now they're friends.
Yeah, because they connect on. Little Bear tells a story of how he lost his wife to smallpox, and then maybe his child,
We keep
his
talking about
baby.
a child, but we're like, hello, what?
So you learn, you're learning little bits about Little Bear sort of as the time goes on, and he had lost his wife to smallpox, and basically doesn't like have a family anymore. He still belongs to his tribe, but seems like a lonely guy.
He was with his nephew.
Yeah, he was with his nephew.
He's
when
got
he got
somebody.
ripped out of his world, but just seems like a slightly lonely guy. So they kind of connect on that level, and also kind of on a what the fuck level, because they're like sitting in this fanny pack and they're listening to like these kids like lecture about science projects, and then they hear like the loudspeaker of the elementary school being like, oh, for lunch today is macaroni and cheese. Also, don't be scared of the molting iguana in the library. That is a natural process. And they're kind of just like, where the fuck are we? Like, this is so crazy.
We have an iguana in the library.
And that's pretty
crazy.
cool. It's pretty cool.
Crazy, but then they just start laughing, and it becomes like a buddy movie.
Well, yeah, they're in this like weird situation together, and like their commonality is that they're both shrunken
and
like
they
little people.
learn from each other.
Yes.
Well, mostly Boone learns from Little Bear, but it's really sweet, So Patrick gets a little cocky, as he would, because he's a asshole. Decides, hey. Oh, yeah, Omri told me not to tell anyone about these things, but psst, psst, Harry, like, John, Sam, guess what?
He's just not a good friend, and I can't believe they keep being friends. It's just, even after this
super
incident.
toxic friend. I hope Omri, parted ways with him. I hope Patrick moved or something.
I hope he's one of those friends who you look back in elementary school and you're like, why was I friends with that dipshit?
Yeah, that's definitely Patrick. Yeah. So Omri like yells at him. He's like, no, and the teacher comes out and is like, what's going on here, boys? Makes Patrick show him what's in the fanny pack. Omri's like, they're just plastic. They're plastic. I was like, sweetie, why is he? Because I had forgotten that whole like beginning part when Little Bear said it that way, and I was like, why is he saying plastic? It just sounds so funny.
So funny.
So,
Like, does he have a speech impediment?
But he's giving a clue to them to act like little figurines, so that no one will know who they really are. So they do a good enough job, although, they're pretty fleshy. I'm just saying.
That was the tip-off for people. Like, wow, that's a realistic, spongy action figure.
So, wow. Luckily, the teacher didn't, stare at them too long, but it was tension. But that's what I'm talking about. Tension, guys. Serious tension.
Crazy.
So then Patrick and Omri basically make up, whatever. And then they bring him back.
Yep, they bring him back, and they have kind of, I think, decided that they're going to turn them back. Like, this has gone too far. This is getting, too sketchy.
Oh, okay.
But actually before that, no, they don't decide that yet, because what Omri finds is, he thinks Little Bear, like I said, is very lonely. So he finds a Native American woman on one of, the tables at school of, all these little action figures or whatever. So he takes it and he's like, I'm gonna get him a wife. So they have a sleepover. So Patrick sleeps over, and they he tells him this wife plan, and Little Bear's like, no, you can't do that. Like, she has a life, whatever. You can't just steal her. She could be married to somebody else. Obviously there's all these reasons. So they kind of put that, they table that discussion for now, and they watch this movie about a western, an old western, with Boone, and he's all excited because he sees cowboys shooting Native Americans. And at first Little Bear isn't watching it, but then he hears all this stuff and turns around and he's watching it, and it's just completely traumatized by what he's seeing on screen. It's a horrible
awful.
film. It was
Why is this movie
it
on
was
TV?
mostly women
And children being shot.
being massacred by these cowboys. It didn't seem any point at all. It was very, very strange. And like we said, Boone's really into it, and he's like, yeah,
get those savages.
Get those savages. Yeah, bro. That was woo. And Little Bear starts freaking out and starts trying to use his bow and arrows on the TV, and is just kind of just so freaked out, and then turns around and I think just connects with Boone being a cowboy and acting like the cowboys in the movie, and shoots him in the chest with an arrow.
Oh man.
And Boone grabs his heart and he goes, amigo, and falls down.
Sweetie's favorite part. She's recreated
I can't
that part
I can't
three
stop
times.
quoting it. Amigo.
Why wasn't that your opening sweetie line?
Well, I didn't think anyone would get it.
Okay, well. So now they don't know what to do. They're like, okay, we got to put him back. Problem here, guys. The cupboard is fucking gone.
No. The cupboard
cupboard's
was
missing.
gone. No,
So
they found it before. Sorry.
I'm going to get... Sorry, I'm too excited. I'm going to get to it. So the cupboard's gone. He goes to his brothers. His brothers are like, real dipshits. And one brother has a fucking rat that he lets just like roll around in a ball all day. It's like, what kind of life is that? But so he's like, where's the cupboard, Ginny? We're not sure. Do we look up what the brother's name is? Gilly?
I mean, is it Gil?
The best.
Is his name Gil?
Whose name is Gil?
Who is Gil?
So he's like, give it back. He's like, give back the rat ball. So he trades him the rat ball for the cupboards. Cupboard's in the crawl space. Good hiding spot, bro. And Omri goes down there and gets it. But the key's not there. And
Gillian.
What? To Gillian on her 50th birthday? Like, what? So the key's not there. And as we all know, the key is the most important part. So he's like, where is the key? And he's like, there was no key. So the key is lost somewhere in this fucking house.
There goes the cupboard.
You know what else is lost in this fucking house? That fucking rat. Loose under the floorboards, doing who knows what, doing rat stuff.
My worst nightmare.
So this is the part I was confused at. They knew that the rat had the key, or they were scared that the rat was on the loose?
The rat did not have the key. So what happened was, remember, there was like a hole in the floorboard. So when the brother stole the cupboard, the key kind of went flying and flew into the hole in the floor. So that's how it got under there. Okay. But without the key, as Sweetie said, they can't change them back, which is what they, after all this has happened, they're like, we need to change them back because Boone has a hospital in this new western town.
Yeah, or bring the medic.
Yeah, but they're also realizing like, okay, it's time to like send these guys back. But their immediate plan was, okay, Boone is shot. Let's get the medic back and he can fix him. But they can't do it without the key. So Little Bear, it has some healing, skills of his own.
Great job.
Yeah. So he makes this like adorable little bandage out of like leaves and basically stops the bleeding on his own. And then he does this like crazy ceremony with like basically like a Native American maraca and like, or like a rain stick and like does like all night he's like over Boone, like trying to heal him with like, speaking to the gods and like all that stuff. Oh my God.
It's real.
Oh, I just love that Little Bear. I remember from the book how much I love Little Bear and how he like was just painted so well.
I have a feeling he dies in the second book. I mean, like,
too.
why isn't he in the other ones?
But he was old.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Anyway, so
all right.
So they figure out that so they're sleeping. They have to keep watch over like they know the rat is potentially like loose in the house, so they don't want him to like basically eat Boone because the blood would attract him or like I don't know. So they like say they're gonna like keep like watch. So like Omri has the first watch. And then Patrick is sleeping, and then Omri wakes up and like hears like a bunch of scratching in the floorboard. So he's like, "Oh shit, the rat!" So he goes over there and then is trying to like lifts up one of the floorboards, trying to figure out where the rat is. And then while he's looking, finds the key in the hole.
Okay. See, in my head, I was like, "Oh, the rat stole the key."
I know. That's what I thought at
and then
first
he got
too,
stuck under the
but no.
floorboard, and then he was like, had the key around his neck or something.
No.
Well, that would have been clever. So yeah, there's the key. They try to get the key. Little Bear volunteers to go in the floorboards with the rat to get the key without light of any kind. I don't know how he. Wow. So he gets the key though, and he passes. It's like on his foot, and Omri picks him up.
But he gets in a little squabble with the rat down there.
Yes, there was a minor squabble. We don't know what happened. We couldn't see the action, but it sounded a little bad. And then we didn't hear anything for a while, and it was a nail biter. So he pulls him out. He's got the key. Everybody's excited. There's a sigh of relief, and then all hell breaks loose. Giant rat comes flying out of the floorboards like fucking Jaws, like the shark in Jaws. We were not prepared, you guys.
Never been so shocked in our life. We're just like, oh yay, he got the key. We're like, great movie moment. Ah! thing like jumps.
I screamed like I've never screamed like that
Projectiles
before.
out of the fucking floorboards like he has a rocket tied to him. It's insane.
It was the scariest thing I ever saw. I couldn't handle it.
Sweetie, if we had been eating popcorn, she would have thrown the popcorn. That's how crazy it was.
I was not prepared at all. No,
It was terrifying.
oh my god. So yeah,
Biggest jump scare we've had in a long time.
of our lives. Yeah, I think. So the brat though just jumps into Omri's or on Patrick. You said?
Yeah, Patrick's like
Catches him, and then they give him back to the brother. Like, take your fucking rat, keep him in his cage. Like, what the fuck? So now they've got the key back. So they bring the medic back. He tends to Boone, and he's like, "Oh, this is pretty clever." And like, so, God, I just like fucking love his little sweet dynamic of like, "Oh my God, you're a really clever person." So Boone starts coming around, and at this point, yeah, they're like, "We gotta put him back. Gotta put him back." But the Little Bear and Boone share a sweet little like reunion. Little Bear hasn't left his side like the whole time. It's really sweet. So then they just put him back, right?
Yep.
That's the end of the conflicts, right? So they put him back. They have to go. They know they're going back to. Okay, so now I'm thinking maybe when they go back, no time has passed at all.
Yeah.
Because that's why they had to go back into their original positions.
Although that wasn't their original positions.
It was when Boone came out. He was like, "This is what I was doing," and then he was in this like that stance. That's why the horse was like that. Because when he came out of the cupboard, he was like, "Yeah," and was all crazy.
Okay.
So I think maybe that's what it means. And no time passes, and they just get shot
I mean,
back there to
I'm
that
sure
same
that's true.
time.
But there is a nice moment where like Little Bear does like kind of like some sort of connected thing with Omri and then Omri closes his eyes and he's like in the woods with Little Bear and he does like a whole sort of like ceremony sort of bringing him like intertwining with his faith or something. I don't know. So they get like close on that level. And obviously, like, Omri is very, like, saddened by the whole thing because he's grown, like, really, really close to this man. So they're ready to lock him up. And then, like, at the last minute, Little Bear's getting emotional, too, and says, are the Iroquois always a great people? And, I think the smart thing would have been to say, like, you bet.
What would Doc Brown say in this situation?
Exactly.
It's never a good idea to know too much about your future.
Exactly. Like, I don't think, like, you're going to leave that poor Native American with a sense of doom. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that is, like, productive to his life and would he been able to do anything with that information? I don't think so. But he lets it slip that, like, I mean, he says it kind of cryptically. He doesn't say, like, directly, like, wow, your whole civilization is going to be, like, wiped out in 20 years. And like I said, I think the Iroquois actually fared better than most Native American tribes, but that doesn't mean that they
Probably
weren't
because Omri told Little Bear, and Little Bear was prepared.
But they were still obviously a victim of like their lands being taken away. I'm sure smallpox, blanket shit, taking away of their, women and children, like, rape and pillage, all that shit. So it was not great. So he kind of lets it slip like, oh, like it's not going to be good for you. Like, kind of hate to tell you, but like I said, very cryptically, but it's like Little Bear knows. He just kind of knows because I think it's because he is already seeing what's happening on he's already had contact with these white settlers. He like knows what's happening. And I think he kind of sees the writing on the wall and that just confirmed to him like, fuck, we're doomed.
True, yeah.
So that like is kind of like a very dark ending to like what is sort of like some nice messages
doesn't
there.
leave it on a positive note,
no,
Omri.
No, not really. And then how does it end? Like I'm forgetting. And then just it
close
closes
the cupboard, and then they're plastic again, and then.
Oh no! And then he goes to school, and he's been writing this little story about the Native American and his experience with Little Bear the whole time, and he ends on a nice little note with the story.
Yeah. It's sweet.
Yeah. The end.
The end. Yeah. Really cute though. Really cute
Adorable.
movie, you guys. Cute movie. So I feel bad saying this, but I think that like Omri just couldn't make it as an actor because he's like the weirdest fucking face I've ever seen. It just upsets me. He reminds me of like some girl I hate. It's not like a actual person that I hate. I'm just like, if he was a girl, he would not be someone I would like. I don't know. I can't explain it. Yeah. His face just bothers me, and he's just like his hair. Maybe it's the hair. He has that like clown like triangle hair.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's,
God
like,
bless
kinda
him, but
crazy
he's just, like,
tooth
his
and,
teeth
like,
are crazy.
that like the really pale kids with the like lots of freckles.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I mean he was adorable, and I think like he found a moment. But I think definitely one of those kids that like he couldn't grow up into any like sort of serious actor. I mean that's like some like
Or, yeah.
95% of kid actors.
Or maybe he did. Yeah, he didn't want to. So
Yeah, and he didn't want to. But yeah, where are you?
But there's some things he said that just like made me laugh out loud, and it made me feel like that the whole beginning is him thinking like they are pets, and that's why Omri gets so upset later with Patrick when he's trying to show his friends. He's like, they're people, like you can't do that.
He grows up a lot in this film.
He really does. I'm telling you, he runs the gamut of all the emotions in life.
I mean, I don't know what the timeline is. I think it's a couple days. I don't think it's that long.
Right. And it's like, so Omri, like the first day that he leaves Little Bear alone and he goes to school, Omri's like, I'll miss you.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, you just met. You're going too fast. But it made me laugh out loud because I was like, oh my, okay, I say that to my cat every day. I'll miss you so much. You're
But-
be sweet.
I mean, this movie and in general, this story hits on like, and I think why like I was so obsessed with it when I was little. If you've played with toys, okay, everyone's played with toys. All you've wanted to do was for them to be real. And when you're little and you imagine they're real, like that carries you for a while, but then you kind of transition and it'll be like, okay, I know they're just toys and like whatever. But this is like every kid's dream that your toys will come to life and you'll have like little things that like, you know, that you can play with but are actually real. So that's like, I think what is so cool and what really connects kids like to this whole story. I am not kidding you. Like when I first read this book, again, it might have been before this movie came out, and I think it was. I basically was like, I'm getting a cupboard. I'm locking my shit up. And it's come to life.
I remember, like you did have a, right?
Didn't
How did
I?
you get one?
Yeah. It didn't have a lock. It definitely
Maybe
didn't
that
have-
was
It
the
didn't have a lock,
problem.
but it had like a thing that closed it. And
Oh,
so, yeah, I remember. It was just
Yeah.
like a little
Obviously,
like
that
wood
was the
thing that closed
That was where
it.
you went wrong. You needed the key.
Yeah,
The
you
key's
needed
the
the
key,
key. Yep.
right? Yeah.
But like in my heart of hearts, I was like, I want this to work so bad.
I know.
Like I want my little shit to come to life.
Even though I still think it'd be creepy. Like,
It would
well,
be
now I have
creepy.
this little person I have to take care of. Like, awkward.
I mean, it went really. Obviously, it went really well
Went
for,
as well
for
as-
Omni.
well as
Omni. That is a really weird
told
name.
you,
I'm
it's
sorry.
the worst.
I've never heard of it before. I think it's like an old Jewish name. I don't know. It really went well for him because Little Bear was a cool dude. But imagine if you pluck somebody out. I mean, all the people were not bad.
What happened to the old
I mean,
man?
Boone was pretty bad, but like he came
turned
around.
okay.
He came around. But like, what if you got a real dud? What if you got a real asshole?
Right.
Like that would. I mean, I guess you just lock them in the cupboard and you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
see
that one
ya.
didn't work.
Yeah,
Like,
next.
one.
Next.
And like, I don't know if the other books. I mean, they do a good job of doing like showing a couple different things coming like in and out of the cupboard. But I wish they did like a little bit more. Again, they show no women, so like you don't have any of that.
What?
So maybe in the other books they do more characters. They do a little shot of when he first figures out this power, he shoves like a bunch of different shit in there. So it's like a Darth Vader, dinosaur from Jurassic Park, RoboCop, like something else, and they all come out and they're all just like fighting and all crazy. And and that's why he doesn't want to use it anymore. Oh, that's why, because remember he freaks out and he's like in his bed like hiding because it's really scary.
No, because they're all fighting each other. So it was just like, ooh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, and he
I
like
don't think he was scared.
yeah he like opens his door a little bit and he like sleeps with the covers over his head. He's very scared.
Okay, yeah.
But again, like too much power. But that brings me to my question. One of my questions. What would you put in the cupboard, sweetie, of your toys? What would you want to bring back to life?
Little plastic figurines, or can it be like anything?
I think
like
let's say
stuffed animals?
anything.
So, like you, I also wanted my toys to come to life. And one day, I specifically remember feeding my stuffed dog Spot water out of a teacup and like praying and like believing that he would be real. But we had a dog, so it's like but it was something about like it being your dog. I think we talked about this before. It's just a different thing.
And also
But
for
I
me,
really wish he
the
was
size
alive.
too.
Yeah. So yeah,
Little.
probably Spot. I'd say I'd probably want to
Aw.
put Spot in there. I was like total stuffed animal girl. Like I had so many stuffed animals. I can't think of any like figurines.
Well, we
had.
didn't have really figurines.
I think that largely, unfortunately, those toys were marketed to boys.
Yes.
for a long time. So I think that's why we were unfairly left out of the
Yeah, I mean, we had all the dolls and everything. Like I said, I went through a truck phase, so I did have some like more boy-related toys. But did I have any figurines other than my dinosaur box, which was the coolest?
I had a King Kong figurine. I had a Gumby. That could be fun.
Oh yeah. I might have like one-offs, but yeah,
Gumby
nothing
and
like
Pokey. Yeah.
you know the typical cowboys. I mean, also I never found like figurines that fun because you're like, what do you do with them? You can't like pose them.
You can't make them have sex like Barbies. Forget it.
Right. So
Dumb.
girls are like Barbies. We had Polly Pockets. I mean, that was like
I loved Polly
I
Pocket.
love Polly Pockets. The girl I babysit for now has Polly Pockets, and I was like all over them when I went
changed
over
now,
there.
though,
Oh,
right?
adorable.
It's not the same Polly. They like updated her.
Yeah. They're much cool. They're like
Bigger?
No, but like it was pretty similar, but a little bit better than I think than we had.
What a genius marketing scheme! Like, oh, I know, we'll make children love tiny things that don't cost any money because
I
they're
know.
so small.
Oh, totally.
Good one.
Yeah, I don't know what I would put in. My American Girl doll. Love those bitches. I thought they were real. I mean, I treated them as like my
Right,
real
they were
little
children.
friends.
Yeah. Oh, your friends?
No,
Mine
they're-
were my kids.
They were my friends.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine were
We were equals.
my daughters, and Molly was the nerd, and Felicity was into like ice skating and horseback
I
riding.
never had the baby face. I don't know what that means for my future, but I always had friends. I never had the baby face. It was weird. But my
Interesting.
cat's like my baby, so I guess.
We're right.
I've
So like
transitioned.
this whole thing, it just reminds me of like, oh, he's this little Patrick's
Get a pet.
Omri's little pet man.
Here's another question for you.
Oh, okay.
What if you put a live thing in the cupboard?
I don't know. I'm very confused about the logistics of this thing. I don't
too.
understand in my head, like, Darth Vader's not a real person.
Right.
So, like, how did he get pulled out from wherever he was? Is it just the concept? Is there, like, but there's truth behind the Indian, so I don't understand. Like, it's too complex for my little head to handle. I'm freaking out, you guys.
We need to read the book.
Yeah, we need more. We need the info.
But like, what if you put the rat in there?
Ooh.
And locked it up. Would it
Could've been
become
a
a
good
fake
side
rat?
plot.
Is it like, does it like
I had
reverse
a
the
fake
other
rat.
way?
I had a rat
Does the
thing.
stream
I had
go
a
the
figurine
other
rat.
way?
I don't know. I reverse the stream. I don't know. Ugh, it's too complex. I hate that shit. So yeah, good question, but
Who knows? Maybe we'll
Who
find
knows?
out in the other books.
yeah, hopefully. So I would like to proudly say that I had a Sweetie syndrome moment in this movie when I was watching it.
Boy.
For those of you who don't know, Sweetie syndrome is when you imagine an alternate scene of a movie that never actually happened, but you believe that it happened your whole life. For instance, from The Cutting Edge, and where we coined this term, Sweetie believed there was an alternate ending where the dad like pulls the medal out of the little.
No. In the credits, there is the credits are rolling, and behind it is a box with the gold medal in it. Because in the movie, the dad shows D.B. Sweeney the character name of I forget now. Also, it's like initials. Does he have initials? No, Doug Dorsey. Sorry, Doug Dorsey. He shows him the box with that's empty. He's like, I saved this box for like the gold medal, and she never won it. So like the box is filled with the gold medal, and the credits are rolling like over
It
it.
makes sense. I feel like that would be a scene that was in there, but
know.
we couldn't find any trace of it. So we're just going to go with the fact that Sweetie imagined it. So in this case, my Sweetie syndrome was that when he couldn't find the cupboard, I really thought that what happened to that cupboard is the mom had taken it and refurbished it.
Whoa.
And Aubrey like freaks out and is like, no! And then she had like repainted it and it like sealed it and they couldn't open it or something. That's what I swear to God, that's what happened.
Yeah, I did.
It was so weird.
I thought something with the key was like the mom had took the key and like had it like sent it somewhere or like was wearing it as a necklace. I don't know. I was like thinking of all these like random shit too because it was so anticlimactic. Like not what happened to the key, but like, oh, the cupboard is just under the crawl space. Like who?
Right.
What? Like is this like a game that these brothers play that like, well, like you did this, so I'm gonna hide your shit and you hid mine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lame.
Boys, am I right?
Boys.
But yeah. What did I say?
Sweetie syndrome.
Sweetie syndrome, refurbishment. Yeah, I mean that's all I have to say about that. I was gonna go another topic, but I don't remember. What else you got?
I just wanted to bring up the other like typical Native American stereotypes, which get brought up in this film and like talked about in, not talked about, but just like showing people like, okay, you people are crazy. Like you need to be a little bit more educated than this. So a real famous one for Indians, right, or Native Americans is how, that greeting. How. And you put your hand up, right?
Yeah.
As sort of a blanket. That's how like all Native Americans greet each other. So that is partially true in the sense that like one tribe that's like was their greeting, but it's actually a Lakota word, so the Lakota tribe, and the word is H-A-U, how, and it was a greeting between men. So then that was used like most Native American things as just to like be like, oh, this is all of them, you know, no designation with tribes and stuff like that. We already talked about teepees. I would say bow and arrows are probably in that mix too, though sounds like Little Bear actually did use a bow and arrow, like his tribe did, but you wouldn't have every tribe using them for sure. And then you have which guy comes out and he's like, oh, maybe it's the British. Yeah, the British guy. So first of all, he calls him an Injun, which was very British.
But he does the how thing.
He does the how thing. And he says, oh, like, you must be from Custer's Last Stand. So it's like that big Indian, Native American battle with Custer and
His last stand.
And Little Bighorn. And then who was the Native American involved with that? Geronimo?
Tonto? I don't know. Tonto's not a real. Is he real? No. That's the Lone Ranger.
That's Lone Ranger. So those are the ones that I can remember. And I wasn't sure if there were any other ones.
Probably, but I mean, like the teepee thing.
Teepee, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, fascinating way to share that knowledge. I thought it was tastefully
I thought it was
done.
Yeah, I thought it was too, and like
really taught a lesson.
I mean, it's one we're all still learning. I mean, obviously a very dark era of this nation that kind of continues because of just the repercussions of how we treated Native Americans, and then where they are now because of the way we treated them. So they're in kind of a bad hole because of that, and the reservations and substance abuse and all that stuff. So it's like, how do we, and it just seems like, obviously they're a smaller population than like say African Americans, but that's like a very similar kind of a thing going on. And there is like much more attention paid to like, African American and reparations and stuff like that. But that's not really talked about Native Americans. And it seems like something that people just forget about. I'm assuming because it's a smaller population and they're more like segregated to like these reservations and they don't move as freely in society. I don't know, but it's just like such a black mark, and not only in this country, but Canada actually has like just as bad of a record as the US basically. And like I don't know how Canadians deal with it or how they think about it, but like
probably not any
just
better.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So as this is a 90s movie, the not too many like 90s things sticking out. I think just the overall vibe of it was felt very 90s to me. But there was one part where you see briefly an LA light. That's what they were called, right?
Yep.
So there were these sneakers in the 90s that lit up on the heel when
so
you walked.
Cool.
They were like the coolest shoes on
Did
the block.
you have a pair of those?
No.
I didn't either.
I think they must have been expensive.
Yeah.
I don't think mom and dad were like, "Oh yeah, I will buy you expensive shoes." But they were fucking cool. So he had like a pair of those. I don't take him for an LA Lights kind of guy. I was kind of surprised to see that. Maybe somebody got him as a gift and he's like, thanks. And
now
like
that
threw him in the
seems
closet.
so annoying. Do they still have
Why
those?
do you want your shoes to light up?
No.
And like, what if you're like trying to sneak up on someone in the dark? Don't wear your LA
Remember
Lights,
the
I guess.
shoes with the little roller skates?
Yeah, they still have those.
They do.
I sometimes still see little rascals using those all the time.
Dangerous.
Skating around the mall. Fuck you guys.
Ugh.
But yeah, man,
Yeah,
LA Lights really brought me back.
The hairstyles, I would say, very 90s, especially the brothers.
They're
and,
like
and Patrick, the bowl cut.
What do you call that? It's like the Devon Sawa.
Yeah, the
It's
Devon
like
Sawa, like the parted in the middle,
party and
like,
greasy,
basically like a
blonde
boy
hair.
bob.
Stringy. Yeah,
It was like a boy
bob.
Yeah, they were they were beautiful bobs, and you're like, wow, beautiful.
bob.
Yeah.
The bob.
The bob. Some clothing stuff, like in the first scene, the little boy has these like giant overalls.
Baggy over. They're like baggy and 3 sizes
What were those
too
pink
big.
pants? Junkos, or
Oh my god! Ew, yeah, like punk kids would wear those.
wide leg
Fuck
pants.
them. Fuck them. Yeah. So I mean, that stuff was nice and comforting. Like the 90s. Anything else 90s? No, I guess not.
Shout out to the girl in class named Emily who got called on like literally all the
Every
time.
time.
Was there anyone else in that class? Because Emily just kept getting called on, and I was pumped
Shout out
about
to
it.
this school who's like not a school at all. So far, the lessons we've seen have been a share journal of like a story or something you've written. P.S. There's one kid in the class whose story is just about JFK's life. And in the beginning, Sweetie and I thought that they were reading like journal entries that they had written, like, today I went to my mom's house. It was fun. So we thought it was like that. And then this one kid's like, JFK was born in 19 whatever. And then the next week they do it. JFK became president. I'm like, this is not an original story, kid. What's happening?
$10.
But-
Like, that kid is like Pete Buttigieg now.
But yeah,
JFK was
I think
born.
they just like had them write something. They must have just been like, creative writing time.
Right, creative writing. Like they had those little black, those little black and white, like Harriet the Spy
So,
journals.
That kid, JFK
And you
fanatic.
write your little
Whoa.
thing. Yeah, he's
Whoa,
a
I'm worried-
he's a
I'm worried
future
about him.
politician.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you've ever seen one.
But that was what they did. They did like a show and tell of the projects they were working on, but it seemed unclear. Like, could they have been in progress? Were they showing the progress of the project or the end result?
I
Because
guess
like,
the end
who shows a
result.
volcano and doesn't make it
Yeah,
explode?
that was weird, and I
And
felt
then the
bad
girls,
for
the
the girls
beans
with
or
the-
whatever.
The beans, the mountain beans. These girls come up. They make like a topographical map
Emily.
of the U.S. It was Emily and her friend, whatever, and they're like, "We made this topographical map with water and flour and paint, and we use beans for the mountains." And the beans are just like sliding off onto the ground. And you just hear like all these beans hitting the ground. What a random scene. That was funny.
Oh, beans. Okay. Do you remember making topographic maps in 4th grade?
I made it in 8th grade. I was in a seminar about China in the charter school, and we made one of China.
I made one in Mr. Packett's
pretty cool.
class. We did like countries in
Yeah.
4th grade, and so I think I had Poland or something. So yeah, it was hard.
It was hard, but really
wow.
fun.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Ah,
They
school.
looked good too. I was like, dang, this looks good.
Yeah, I was minorly impressed. Did we have to paint them also?
Yeah.
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 So another like nostalgia that this movie brought up for me was that Omri like sleeps with his door open. Remember, I slept with my door open for like most of my childhood life. Isn't that so weird?
like I did
and not
too.
just like cracked open. Like I would need that door like wide open.
Okay.
So this is why, if you remember, I was like, yeah, I saw Top Gun, but I didn't really. I was trying to go to sleep, and you guys were watching it downstairs. But because I slept with the door open, this is when the TV was in the down the stairs.
Wow.
I like heard the whole movie. So yeah, I would sleep with that door wide open. And
remember my like trace
and I don't
of
know,
that.
and I don't feel like it was because of the dark. I just didn't like the door closed for some reason. I don't know. It's weird. But
Well-
now it's like you can't sleep.
I
with
was
your
gonna
door
say, I was like, I have not had a bedroom door in like years.
I mean, I haven't. I have
I
definitely.
have
not.
one now, but we don't close it because our apartment's so dark. Like we don't need to, and also just when you have a cat, it's really annoying. You basically have to leave a door open. And then I've had a studio the last couple years, and I've always had a cat, so I've actually never slept with.
Yeah,
my door
if
closed.
you're unaware of cats, they don't enjoy
they don't-
closed
they
doors.
Don't do closed doors.
They don't. They're not okay with it.
No.
Gotta open those. Gotta scratch on that sucker. Let me out of here.
Yeah, good one though. Good one, sweetie.
Yeah, I liked it.
Wow, this went on much longer than I thought.
I
we
know.
were gonna do.
Who thought? But yeah, Sweetie and I had a grand time.
Oh, so
we
good.
were like super invested in the story after.
Yeah.
We were like, I don't. After when it was ending, I was like, I don't understand. He's like saying goodbye to Little Bear, like he's never gonna see him again in his life. I'm like, why can't you just bring him back for a quick
I was
visit?
like, don't worry, he's gonna bring him back. Like he's gonna bring him back.
and then we read the plots to all the
All the
books
stories.
to see what happens, and we were right.
I might have to read the books. And I got
Yeah.
this like thought of that, and I wanted to do this for a while. Like go back and read those books that I like loved when I was a kid. I'm sure they
I
take
do
me
that
like an
sometimes.
hour
Yeah.
because they're so short. Like I'd love to experience that again. and
Sweetie
see,
book
like, what it's
club.
like. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't like rereading books because I'm just like I don't have the time and I need to experience new books. But maybe I could just do like a small section of
So
the year
fun.
dedicated
Obviously.
to children's books. I want to do
Yeah.
it with Roald Dahl books for like ever because those are good like kind of adult and kid books. In a lot of ways.
do
Let's
it.
do it. Let's have a
2020
children's book
reading
club.
club.
That would be
children's
fun.
books. Redux.
Oh my god, I would love it. Okay.
Write
No more book clubs.
Write it in your
I did,
ideas
like,
book.
5. Oh, here it's
You haven't
Sweetie
written-
business plan.
You haven't written
I haven't
any
had a business plan in a long
plans
time.
a long time.
Yep.
Need to bring that back.
I'm selling cupboards that bring dolls to life. That's what I'm doing.
I wish we need to go
Sweetie
back.
business
I want to
plan.
make a compilation of mix of all your Sweetie's business plans. Oh, it's gonna be good.
I just remember the dating
that was
one.
a good one. Yeah, there were some other ones, I'm sure. So yeah, Okay.
Oh, the Blockbuster too. The new,
that one?
well, just like basically just Blockbuster now, but it's just like Sweetie's favorites, and then I like make a
Just movies that you like.
yes, but they're digital downloads. So then you get a code, so you pay for the code, and then you can get
You
the
had
movie.
one also that was like, what was the thing where it's like, on, you go somewhere on your lunch break and you like, it's only 7 minutes.
have to do the compilation. I do not
I'm
remember.
going to do it.
I don't
I know,
remember.
so much fun. It's going to be the best. That means we're going to have to listen to every episode.
Yes, all 201.
All right. Whew, what a night.
202.
What a night.
202.
202. In the 202. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Do you want to talk about the Indian in the cupboard? Come
The
find
Native
us.
American in the cupboard.
Hey, listen. Some Indians refer themselves as Indians. It's up to them. So, if you like this movie, or if you don't, if you just want to talk to us, come find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club, or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Goodbye. Bye. Hey, partners.